Yo, yo, yo.
What's good, Maydrian?
What's going on, man? How you living?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. Um, Episode 5. We moving along.
Uh,
How you been, bro? What's been up with you?
I'm doing good, man. I cannot complain. Work don't stop. That's all. But I've been good though. I'm not complaining at all.
Facts.
Just a whole bunch going on. Working this summer, doing some amazing work around some civil rights stuff. But I'm doing all right though. How you been?
Good. Same, bro. Just um trying to keep it going, keep everything going. I'm in the process of job searching as well as apartment searching because with inflation and stuff, they starting to like hike up the prices. So I literally got like a what's those letters called? I forget like the little he just said it, but I got a letter basically, and they were saying that you got to notify us like within 45 days, and then on the second page it had a list of prices, and I have a 12-month lease. While I look at the price on my 12-month, I'm currently paying like 1119, and the rent is going up to like 1240.
I can believe it.
That's
I
a
can believe it.
that's a huge jump. So I'm like, you gotta like weigh in gas prices, grocery prices, all of that. You know what I'm saying?
We're finna go into a recession, man. I was just looking at something on internet. A lady who helps people like buy houses and stuff. Somebody was like, should I buy a house right now? She was like, now's the time to move back in with your grandma, save some money. Let's split some of these expenses, split some of these bills because things are going to get real high and they're going to stay that way for a while. So,
Right. But yeah, just trying to figure that stuff out and make something shake so I'm not putting myself in a bind trying to stay where I'm currently at. For sure looking for a pay raise, but ain't gonna really get that until next year if I stay where I'm currently at. So just kind of been looking and whatnot. But like other than that, everything been cool. Angie been out here. She going to med school next month. So I've been able to spend like the last couple of weeks with her. She finna leave soon. What else? I mean, that's pretty much it. Everything else is still on the up and up. Oh, I want to say last episode I had talked to you about the putting creamy kicks on hold. I'm pretty sure you saw that last post that I made. I've paused all my sales just to really focus on like one thing, if not one, just like a couple, just to be as efficient as possible. Because doing all that spreading it creates burnout. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talked about. So yeah, did that, and I'm just chilling, trying to focus, trying to regain my discipline and just motivation to work at my current job. And yeah, other than all that, I'm good, bro.
Good, I'm praying for you for sure.
I almost started venting a little bit, but
save it for the episode.
Yeah. But
for the episode.
Yeah, man. We got a special guest with us today. He is a new husband, he's a new father. He's a project cost analyst at Ohio's biggest power utility. And he's a new real estate investor. One of my close friends out here. I met him at work. He's a big brother to me, and I really feel like that we'll be able to get some good gems from him during this episode today. So gentlemen, we welcome you, Armoni Howell.
Yo.
How's it going, y'all? How's it going?
What's the
How's
deal,
it
my
going?
man?
Man, all good, man. How are y'all?
Doing
Pretty
good,
good,
man.
bro. Pretty good. How you feeling? What's up? What's going on?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Just, raising my son, getting ready for our 1 year anniversary of marriage, me and the wife. So getting ready to do that next July 3rd. Yeah, so that's Sunday.
Congratulations.
So yeah, man. So just a lot to celebrate, man. And then our son, he'll turn 1 August 28th. So it's like
Whoa,
bam bam. Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is crazy.
How's that year been? Like just the marriage as well, like, just fatherhood. Because I know those both are new to you.
I mean, Joe, we met, bro. We were completely different people. Let's just say that. So I just say it's made us a lot more wiser, more understanding when it comes to life as a parent. I thought I knew. I thought I knew just because I'm the oldest of I got 6 siblings. So, but it's completely different when you have your own. So, just raising him, man, and just testing your patience, and just really kind of being more open-minded to all the little smallest things, and trying to really appreciate all those happy milestones that he takes. As tired as we can be, sometimes it could be frustrating at moments just because you want your child to understand certain things, but you just being patient, you know what I'm saying, and just going along for the ride. We just pride ourselves on bringing him up in a presently parent household,
Right.
having both parents. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, bro.
That quote was fire. The way you framed that, presently parent household, that was fire right there.
Man, listen, man. I mean, it's real common for the father to be absent. So it's and then there are some cases, sometimes the mom might have perished away or something like that, but it's mostly the father's lack of absence. And so, man, I know I come from a broken household, and so does my wife. And so that's truly our number one goal. You know what I'm saying? To raise him in a, whole house, and not having to live this life over here and live a life over there.
That's what's up. I think I had cut you off, Joe. My bad. Before you
you good?
talk, but I couldn't let that moment pass. That was flames right there.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, we're gathered here today. Get my preacher on. I'm chilling. I'm tripping. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about relationships today.
Okay.
Just in general, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it's intimate relationships, marriage, friendships, relationships at the work, just in general relationships. So I'll start us off with a question for you, Armoni. What's one of the biggest or some of the biggest misconceptions that you had about relationships at a young age? Because I feel like we look at relationships different, you know what I'm saying, as teenagers, as children, but when you really grow up and figure out life and, you know what I'm saying, just the fact that we have to cohabitate on this earth and not everybody thinks like you kind of figure out, oh, well, relationships ain't just like bread and butter, you know what I'm saying? It's more to it. So.
Well, yeah, I agree, man. And I think, okay, so I can go in many different directions, but, being young, especially when you're teens or in your 20s, or even in your 30s, some people can kind of look at relationships in ways of more like a status symbol sometimes. More like I think you don't have to necessarily be dating an individual or in a relationship with a woman to have a solid, just true relationship. You know what I'm saying? Just as friends. That's just one piece right there. And I think also as far as relationships goes, relationships, with people who don't look like us, go far. I mean, I'm very diverse. I thank my mom for that. Just for the simple fact that, I went to inner city schools. Sorry, I'm just kind of putting this out here because it's starting to rain a little bit. Sorry, guys. But
you good. I saw a few specks coming out. I'm like, he finna get rained on.
Yeah, I know. But no, I went to inner city schools, the beginning portion of my grade school, and obviously predominantly Black. And then going into it's way better. And then going into the suburban community, as I got into high school, it definitely allowed me to broaden the horizon of the people that I consider friends. And then it helped me in my early adulthood life as far as work going in the workplace. So relationships with people who don't look like me has taken me very far. I've actually even had people who don't look like me in my wedding. Obviously my wife, she doesn't look like me, Giovanni. But at the end of the day, it's all about, love and relationships and helping each other further the path and journey that we call life. So
right. Do you have any like standards as far as like relationships go? This is also a general question, like non-negotiables. Like, do you believe in that? Even like, should there be non-negotiables, or should there only be non-negotiables in some instances, or would you like apply that to everything?
there are some non-negotiables that, as far as respect, just respect me for me. As far as my background, and we might not agree on certain things, and that's okay, but being okay to disagree with one another. And then relationships, as far as if we, like you and I, we have a really dope relationship, Joe, and I feel like if I should be able to come to my brother and tell him about himself, I wouldn't want a yes person around me.
Yeah.
That's just gonna tell me every day is sunny outside, even as soon as I step out the side, and everybody's gonna be okay. I need people to keep it real with me. So in that case, that's one thing that's non-negotiable as far as with me. I like people to keep it, to be up front. And then you know what, honestly, just them being themselves as well, and not trying to be somebody that they're not, so I pride myself on being myself, and I think that people who I invite at the table should pride themselves as well and be on themselves. So
while you were talking about that, I kind of thought about something I realized about relationships, like just my new perspective since being with Angie. Like I realized that we prioritize the intimate relationships more than we do the non like intimate relationships.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'd consider, or the old me would consider the relationship that I have with you two a non-intimate one. But the new me would be like, oh, well, these are intimate relationships. Why are they intimate relationships? Because just like with my girlfriend, like you said, like this will make me think about it. Just like I can come and go to her and say, oh well, you acting an ass. I should also be able to do that in my other relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like I should be able to hash out, you know what I'm saying, differences in all of my relationships, not just that intimate one. So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I mean that's
Go ahead. My bad. I was just gonna say, yeah, I think that kind of goes back to like I was gonna pose a question about holding space for people, and I think that's like important. You know, the Bible tells us and that it's important to make sure that like all relationships we should be able to hold each other accountable. But I think it's also necessary that we are able to like be able to be, you know, present enough for people to be them. Like you said, you're speaking about basically about authenticity. You know, you be your authentic self, but also be able to you know, hold space for people to grow, but also to be able to express themselves in like in real ways. And I think that's important for friendships. You know what I mean? Which got me thinking about one of the questions I had wanted to ask, which was like, what are some of the ways that you prioritize like holding space for your friends? And I'll ask both of y'all that, and I'll go first. And I think just to kind of explain, because I know that term, it's a new term. I see it on social media a lot, so people are always using it. So like holding space, in my opinion, means like being available or being accessible to a friend in the way that they need you to, without trying to impose your own expectations on it. You know what I mean? So like I have, you know, like one of the practices I try to make, and one of the things I try to be like very cognizant about when people are coming to me to vent about a problem or coming to me to talk about something that's heavy on their heart, before I respond, I'll ask them, okay, do you need me to give you advice, or do you need me to listen to what you have to say? Because I want to make sure that I'm holding the right type of space, but I don't want to, because one thing I hate is unsolicited advice. If I'm coming to you trying to talk to you about something and you just start telling me what I would do or what you need to do, we probably don't get off the phone. But you know what I mean?
yeah, I feel you.
So I just want to see what y'all take is. That's one of the things, one of the ways I think is most important to hold space, to just be cognizant and aware of, you know, what somebody really needs in that moment. And I'll flip the question to y'all.
Yeah.
You kind of
you hit it.
I mean, you kind of shot me with that one. I ain't gonna lie, because I feel like I do that. That's now that you brought that to our attention, that's probably something I need to work on. But I didn't really have a long answer to that one. I would just say, after hearing that, I'll probably have to think with a humble mindset and respond out of humility, you know, in those times when they, you know, may need something. That's pretty much all I have for that. Humility.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. You said a lot, and I appreciate you asking us that question, man. I think, Joe, I mentioned this to you too, man. Like, it's key for us to just be like great listeners, like, and that's the safest place to be in, period. Even if someone doesn't want advice, just be a absolutely great listener. And I think that's one thing, like you mentioned, not soliciting advice and being a know-it-all, like oh, okay, like you're this perfect person, you got all the answers, you know, trying not to be that guy to people, because it's sometimes uncalled for. I'm learning that through my marriage. Let me just say that. So I've been practicing to, instead of listening to be understood, I'm listening to understand. So there's a difference. The difference is, to be understood is where you can hear little parts of the message, but then you just assume the rest of it, and then you just start chiming in your advice. That's like, oh yeah, so you know, I went to work today, and my boss, you know what, they were crazy, and then they told me I need to clock in, and you just, you know what, and then you start saying what you're saying and just cutting them off. And then in those moments, you can just tell that person needs you to shut up and just listen and just be a target. So somebody could just bounce something off the wall and that'll make that they'll answer all their questions just from that, versus someone coming to you about like a legit question that's directed and really needs some solid advice about like a closing on a home or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. So I've been practicing just listening to understand versus listening to be understood. And sometimes, like, I've listened too much sometimes, and then I'm waiting. My wife's like, "Okay, I need you to give me some input." I'm like, "Oh, I'm still trying to listen." I'm like, but yeah, man. That's good stuff, man. I didn't pay attention to the whole soliciting thing, but I'm really gonna focus on that because I'm not trying to be a solicitor of advice.
Yeah, and I think that's good that what you said about listening to understand, man, because we are such reactionary people, like naturally. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm one in arguments. I'm constantly thinking about, well, what I'm gonna say back. You know what I mean? So I got this on the front of my head. I ain't even worried about. I'm not really listening to what you're saying. I'm waiting for you to say
Yeah.
the trigger, so that way
Yeah.
I can go ahead and say, well, this is what I was going to say back to that. You know what I mean? So I'm working my way out of that too. But I know that's something. It's very easy to get caught
Adrian,
up in
watch
that.
when you start listening to understand, you're going to see that part that you already got ready, that your response prepared. You're going to see it change because you're still listening to the rest of the message, and you're like, it's crazy, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, most of the time those responses just fuel the fire. Hey,
Yeah.
What you needed to say in those
don't help nothing. It just keep the argument going longer most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So a little while ago, I was having like conversations with multiple people about the whole 50-50 thing in relationships. I think it was geared towards like, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife. But what's y'all's take on that in a general aspect? Like, do you believe that every relationship is going to be 50-50, or like how do y'all feel about that?
I'm gonna say something weird, and y'all gonna look at me crazy, but I think it's 100. I know, right? That's 100.
Yeah.
And it's everything is a team effort. And I feel like, being married, we have to understand both roles. I gotta be able to come home, take care of her, take care of the, cook certain days or do certain things. It's okay to give each other a break of each other's roles. So I feel like it's 100. It's if you only know one part of the play, playing sports, and the coach can't leave you in the game to play the other role because somebody injured, then what good are you? It's like you got to be able to know all the roles in every play. So I think it's 100.
Yeah, I agree with that. I personally think that the 50-50 thing is a saint. Like that's my take on it. Yeah. Because you mentioned you need to know like every part of the play, and that comes out of communication. So if I know what you can bring to the table, if I know what you're capable of, if I know where you lack, if I know, what I'm saying, where I need to show up, what I need to be doing, then I know what level of effort to expect from you. So basically I know what your 100% looks like, or your 50 to the other 50. I know what that looks like. So
equal percentage. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I feel like this is exactly what you said. Basically, like if you know both sides, if you know the whole play, all the plays, you know what I'm saying, and y'all are at that agreement, then I don't think the relationship could fall under that. Like as long as that constant communication, like
and not there's not going to be great days at all. Like, and so like you might have disagreements with each other, but you still like the job isn't done. Like you still have to finish the play. You know what I'm saying? So like don't let any disagreements or anything like that not allow you to complete picking up where the other person left off. You know what I'm saying? So I've been in situations in the past where, oh, because I'm upset in my feelings, I just drop the ball on everything. No, we can't do that, you know? So I don't know if Joe got stuck.
I saw that too. I don't know what's happening. He froze.
But go ahead. Why don't you weigh in on that, Major?
No, I was actually gonna say, man, you kind of changed my perspective on it because when you said that, you know, I've always been the person that thinks it's never gonna be 50-50. Like I will always say it's gonna be, you know, somebody always have to give more. But I think, I mean, essentially what I'm saying is the same thing that you are, is that it's always gonna, you have to know how to do all the roles. So you got to pick up the slack. You know what I mean? You can't. I think it's important to be, especially once you get these relationships. I'm not married or not in like a serious relationship right now, or I have a child, but I think that once you get to that role, once you're responsible for someone other than yourself, you got to be able to do everything for yourself and for your other tribe too, because it takes a village. You know what I mean? If one person go down, everybody else got to step up. So I think that's facts
I'll
right
give you another example. So I was just talking to Joe before we got on the call. I tested positive for COVID on Tuesday, right? And it was my first time. Not a great experience. I'm a lot better now. But the wife had more help prior to me having COVID. She wanted me to just rest. So that put her in a situation because we was working from home, having to watch our son and go to work and cook, clean, do all the things she was having to do throughout the house while I was just down. She was like, you need to get rest. I'm trying to help and do stuff. She's like, babe, you ain't doing nothing but contaminating the house. You need to lay down. So I felt bad because my pride as a man, being the one that has to be a caretaker or do my part, and I see my wife having to do my part. Being okay sometimes with allowing the other person to do your role can be tough too. Because you know, you as the man, your ego and everything is involved where you're like, oh no, I can't do it. But I ended up having to shut it down, and I'm glad she was able to pick up where I was lacking. And I would gladly do the same for her. So, which I actually am, because she has COVID now and I'm better. Right. It was crazy. Like as soon as I got off of COVID, I'm better. She got it. And I had to do the same thing just before. So had little man with me. We watched Toy Story. We hung out. We ate. We played games. We did everything. I cooked. And now the wife is up from a 4-hour nap watching him because I told her I had this podcast to do. So he would be sitting right here on my lap. It would be, you know, all his podcasts all day.
I hope she feels better soon, man.
Thank you, bro.
Happened, Javon? We lost for a second.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Like as soon as I finished talking, like both of y'all froze, and I'm like,
it was just too deep for you.
What's going on? Yeah. May, did you have another question?
I can't ask another one. You know, we're talking a lot about relationships and things like that. And I think my question for you, Armoni, would be, that's how you say it correctly, right, Armoni?
Yep.
Okay. You know, we talk a lot about vulnerability on our show and just being vulnerable in relationships and things like that. But I think my question for you was, how important is it to show vulnerability? And I guess what new ways are you learning to show vulnerability with your wife and with your son in those relationships? Because, you know, a lot of times it's real hard. I feel like Black man, I grew up with my dad, you know, for the later part of my life, and he wasn't like throughout high school and things like that, and my college years, and he didn't really show vulnerability. He still doesn't, you know, to this day. You know what I mean? I think it's not that he doesn't want to. I think it's just, it may be hard for Black men to do so. So I was wondering, what ways as a father and as a husband do you show vulnerability?
I like that question, man. And vulnerability is it's something we all have, but it's something that most of us stray away from just because people look at it as a sign of weakness. But vulnerability, man, I look at it as a breakthrough moment set myself free from whatever I'm holding in. And I can come to my wife and do that. We've had so many moments. I got so many examples. I'm just trying to really dig in the hat right now and pick the best one that's good. But I think the one that first comes to mind, and actually there are two. There's one positive and there's one negative, and I'm gonna share both of those with y'all. Let's start off with the negative. So, and I really don't. I'm being vulnerable with y'all because I haven't really talked about this with some people on a public level, but it is what it is, right? That's what vulnerability is about. It is what it is.
Yep.
So my father and I, we have a good relationship. We have a good relationship. And I love my dad, you know what I'm saying? But my dad was a young dad when he had me. Just kind of giving you a little background on him. My parents obviously were never together. And it was just one of those things. Literally, I was a one night stand, just keeping it real with y'all. And speeding up to where I am now, obviously you guys see I'm trying to do things differently, be married, household, raise my family and everything. I had that news, the news of telling your parents that you got a child on the way. That was a powerful moment for me. But then the disappointment came with that when I had one parent there because it was a surprise, cleaned the house, got everything together. But the reaction, I didn't get a good enough reaction from my father in that moment, because he felt like he needed to be there for somebody else, which is my godfather. He didn't lose his parent at that time, but they were in the hospital due to COVID. And I get it, but I felt like the news of me telling you that, hey, like you got a grandson on the way would have been like just a game changer. And I just had those expectations. But I took that and cause he wasn't, he was like he was like happy, but at the same time, he was just in and out of the house. Like literally like not even 2 minutes. My mom was there the whole time. And I just was like, I just felt like it was a smack in the face at that time. But then I didn't talk about it. I kind of held on to it. And then when the whole thing, the rest of the day went by, I kind of had that moment with my wife, and I kind of really was really upset because it really hit deep inside of me because I had the whole picture in my mind made up on how things were going to go. But obviously I'm better now. I talked to my dad about it. I was able to be vulnerable with him. It took me a while because I kind of, didn't know how to even go about it. And I didn't kind of want to look like, oh, I'm soft or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I got through to him, but he didn't even know. So some people won't even know when they hurt your feelings, and certain things like that. And I was just glad that I was able to kind of get that off my chest. Because if I would have held on to that, because when I did hold on to it, I held on to it for maybe like 3 months afterwards. And you can tell I stopped coming over to my dad's house. I stopped calling him. I don't know. When I did see him, I kind of like kept it kind of short. It was just like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But I was able to be vulnerable in that moment. Now on a positive note, for I would say the delivery of my son being delivered, man. My wife, holding it down and everything, and I felt like in that moment I was so vulnerable, bro. Like it's so hard to explain seeing your son or your child being born, period, man. Like I just felt like weak, but at the same time, I felt like happiness is so touchy and so like intimate, like so in that moment. And I literally like told my wife, like, yo, you know what? You are by far the strongest person that I know. You are my hero. And like, I know throughout the whole pregnancy, I wasn't always the greatest just because I was super ultra overprotective and wouldn't let her go anywhere by herself. And sometimes, you know, it could be a bearing sometimes, overbearing. But yeah, man, I just was just like being super extra vulnerable, man, in that moment. Just, you know, showing my gratitude and thankful and, you know, just giving our son life and just keeping him safe throughout the whole process. So, yeah.
Man, I gotta.
On that negative experience, I think it's super dope that you was able to communicate that with your pops, especially like that boundary violation. Me and Joe was talking about this maybe I think the second or first episode, I think it was the second or third, but just talking about uncommunicated expectations or boundaries often lead for disappointment. You know what I mean? Because we have these ideas in our head and we think we know how we want things to go. And sometimes I think that as people, we just kind of feel like some things shouldn't have to be said. You know what I mean? Like, you should know, you should want to do this for me. You should want to be there for me in that way. But if we don't say it directly, sometimes people may not even know that their behavior is going to hurt our feelings. And so I think it's big that you're able to recognize that and then go and have that conversation, even so soon, because 3 months was a lot of time, but that was soon too to come around for that, because that was a big moment for you. So
yeah, it was huge, man. It was huge. It was just 3 months. It seemed like it was quick, but it was long because at that time too, because we were still quarantining in the pandemic. So, you know, months be long.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. 3 months, man. I was like, I can't rock with that dude, man. I was
That's
like, I don't know. I was like, I was like, when we have him, he's one of the people I ain't bringing my son around for a while. I was like on some stuff, bro. Like, I had to let free that, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And I'm a shamelessly plug this book I just finished too about vulnerability. I just wanted to share with y'all too, but it's called You're Your Best Thing. And it's an anthology, and it's like a series of essays on vulnerability, shame, resilience, and like the Black experience. And man, I gotta tell you, it's some brothers in here wrote some excerpts on just like their experience in Blackness and being vulnerable. And I think a lot of times our country doesn't like hold space for Black folks, because we always got to be on guard, you know, all the time, watching threats to our lives and stuff like that. But it's necessary that we have those type of breakthrough experiences, because when we don't allow vulnerability in our homes, it creates toxic relationships with our loved ones and with each other. You know what I mean? The way we interact with each other as men, we don't hold space for us to really communicate, hey man, I ain't feeling good. You know what I mean? I just need to talk to somebody. So I think it is very good. And I'm always learning and reading and trying to get more knowledge about that topic individually. But yeah, man, that's my soapbox. I'm off of it, so I'll flip it back to Joe, or y'all let y'all
Oh, you good, man. You good.
No, I had a little something that I was thinking about when you were talking about your positive vulnerable experience, specifically when you were talking about how you were expressing gratitude to Crystal, and that made me think about what vulnerability does to like the other person. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people can tell when you're not being vulnerable. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like us as people, we're good at picking up on vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think we talked about this on one of the other episodes, but whenever you give us a little bit of inch of room to have some imagination,
yeah,
saying where that imagination going, you know what I'm saying, down the drain, it's gonna automatically be negative. And I remember a time where, you know what I'm saying, I was going through some stuff and I wasn't telling Angie, I wasn't telling her, I was holding it in and doing the thing that Maydrian talked about, expecting her to know you know what I'm saying, what I was going through without telling her whatever. And then she sat down and she was like, bro, like, I can't do anything if you don't tell me. Like, if you expected me to like talk to you about it or help you out, then I'm gonna need you to open up and be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody's a mind reader.
Yep.
Exactly. But just to kind of like, you know, off of what you said, I think that vulnerability promotes growth. It gives a sense of comfort to the opposing party, or not the opposing party, but the other person.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I mean, basically, like I said, like people can tell if you're not being vulnerable. So how you just shared those, you know what I'm saying, like those stories, which I'm sure are, you know, near and dear to you with us. I
Right.
felt the vulnerability, you know what I'm saying, like through that. So I feel like you trust me as enough as an individual to tell me that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So just imagine what vulnerability does for your wife, for other people. You know what I'm saying? We're not only being vulnerable to help ourselves or to put, you know what I'm saying, those, you know, like past hurts and stuff into perspective to heal, but we're also being vulnerable for other people.
Yep.
Like,
You
know,
said something, though, Joe. You said that trust word, boy. That's big. You trust those people, but those people also have to hold that space, because I got to be able to know that you're going to be able to, one, respond how I need you to, be able to hear what I'm saying, and be able to, you know, if I want you to keep this with you, you're going to keep it with you. If I know you, I know you can if I ask you to. So yeah, I think that's big. That was good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
I had one more. I feel like we may have touched on it, but just throughout the duration of your life, Armoni, like what are some of the biggest takeaways that you've, you know, brought out of maybe failed relationships or even relationships that worked? You know what I'm saying? Some things that you wish you would have known early on, and you know what I'm saying, things that you're going to teach your son. Like what are those for you?
Well, regardless of whatever relationship you're in, whether you're dating someone or whether you're, you know, on a team, or you're just out and about and you meet somebody for a cup of joe, type energy, whatever. Never burn bridges. Don't nobody walk on water. Don't nobody walk on water, bro. Until I see somebody walk on water, then that person can burn bridges all day. But if you ain't walking on water, don't burn no bridges. Because and I got a plenty of examples, but I can talk all day about those, man. And I think that's one unique thing about me that I can say I haven't really burned not too many bridges, and this is from being young too, all the way up to where I'm at. I might have burned maybe one or two, not even gonna lie. But that's where I hold myself accountable, and because at that part I was a hurt individual, because hurt people hurt people. So but when you're in the right mindset, and you know how you conclude on whatever season you may have, always conclude with the greatest gratitude and respect, and if it's allowed, continue to follow up. It don't gotta be every day. It could be once a week, or maybe it could be once a month, or once every other year. You know what I'm saying? But whatever impact you leave on that person, and they'll remember you, you'll be able to pick back up where you left off. So my wife always said there's a fortune in the follow up, you know, when it comes to sales. So just follow up, touch base. You know, I started this year with a goal to text a random number, which I would consider the random number in my phone, is a person who I haven't talked to in a long time, and just say, hey, I just wanted to reach out and say, you know, have a great day. I know it's been a while. Maybe we can catch up, and just, you know, making sure all is well. I reached out to a few people when the power went out, and they were happy because their power did go out. Remember, we had that outage. You know, reaching out to people during the pandemic. Are you well? How's your health? You know, is your family well? Is your mom, dad, everybody good? You know, asking about people that, you know, touch to the heart. So just following up with people, and don't burn any bridges, because don't nobody walk on water. And yeah, man, I kind of went a little bit all over the place as far as answering that question, but yeah.
Good.
I know nobody walk on water, and we ain't supposed to burn bridges, but can we sometimes not walk across them no more? And sometimes once you get across, can I stay on the other side?
Right.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, you know, I think that's facts though, because I've gotten to a space, I think, in my life too, where I'm reconnecting with like people that I used, like I don't like to burn bridges either, but sometimes I do know I'm learning that we don't have to have the relationship in the same way that we once did. You don't have to, you don't get the same access to me after, you know, something happened, or I may not get the same access to you after I did something. You know what I mean? So I think that is big, but I don't burn bridges either. But sometimes I do have to take a step back and say, hey, I don't walk across that bridge. I'm all right. I ain't going against that one no more. So yeah.
You know, since you said that, now I have a question for both of you. I have a question for y'all. And just kind of way what she was talking about, what relationship, and have there been any recent relationships that you had to come back to with being most forgiving as possible and asking for forgiveness? And like, have you ever truly showed that ultimate true forgiveness and let go of whatever was holding you back from you in that relationship further along?
I'll go first if I can, Joe, because this just happened to me. So
Yeah,
I had to, you know, I'm the type of person, like I always try to be my authentic self and try to make genuine connections and be real with people. But sometimes people just don't mesh. But I'm not the person that people usually don't mesh with, if that makes sense. I usually mesh with everybody. But recently, you know, I was dealing with someone, and it wasn't that it didn't work, but it was just like it wasn't meshing. You know what I mean? And it had went a lot of time had passed. We hadn't spoke, and it was bothering me. I talked to my therapist about it. I talked to my friends about it, and it was like, you don't need to reach out. You know, it's just what it is. Just leave it alone. You know how they're going to respond. But I was like, you know, even if I felt like, you know, I don't need an apology from them, but I feel like I needed to apologize for some of the things that I did, because that's not the way that I want to be remembered as the person in that person's memory. You know what I mean? Even if we don't reconnect or have the relationship again, I'm okay with that. But I don't want my last impression on you to be the way that I acted the last time. You know what I mean? And so I felt like I owed them an apology, and I just reached out and I just said it, and they was like, okay, thank you. And that was cool. And it was like, same to you, you know, it was nothing more than that. And that was enough for me. You know what I mean? It was like, that was all I needed. You know what I mean? Because I just wanted them to know that I didn't, even though there was things that happened that hurt my feelings per se, things that happened that I didn't like, things I didn't agree with, it was okay, because I didn't need that from them, but I needed them to know that I don't treat people the way that I interacted with you, and I don't want you to think that's how I intended to treat you. So that was the one for me. Yeah.
For me, it would be it'd be a bit one-sided. I feel like I've talked to both of y'all about my past, you know what I'm saying? Like a couple of events that went down that took place, you know what I'm saying, during my come up or whatever. And like right now I'm actually still in that healing process. And what does that take? You know what I'm saying? It takes forgiveness. I don't feel like I need, so this is my thing, and I was talking to my ex-therapist about this, and he gave me an option. He gave me two options. He was like, either you don't address the situation and you know what I'm saying, just muster up the strength to forgive without expressing, you know what I'm saying, how you felt about it, or you do that, you go and you talk to him about it. And my thing was, the stuff happened so long ago. This is me assuming, because people truly don't know, you know what I'm saying, what they're doing when they're doing the stuff like to you. You know what I'm saying? It could be something said, it could be actions, you know what I'm saying? It could be whatever it may be. A lot of times people don't even know that they're hurting you. I want to say one of y'all had mentioned that earlier, but my whole thing was, I don't feel like bringing up something that is 10 years old, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you're just gonna, I don't know, like try to make me feel like that wasn't really what it was. When here I am, 25 years old, and it happened, you know what I'm saying, early teens, you know what I'm saying, childhood, I'm still feeling a certain way about it. Like, it obviously impacted me. So what I'm currently trying to do with all of those relationships, because it's multiple, you know what I'm saying, it's multiple relationships, multiple instances, they're not all the same, but I don't know, like I just kind of like return to those with grace and forgiveness, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm calling those individuals on the phone, I'm actively trying not to think about the thing that hurt me. And it's something like I don't know why, but I really hold on to that. Like I've learned over these years to just hold on to like the negative aspect of everything. And I'm honestly trying to unlearn that, but I just can't help it sometimes to be on the phone with people thinking about like, bro, like you really, I can't believe you really did that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you said that, or you know, so I'm going into those with grace and forgiveness. And you know, with grace and forgiveness comes the knowledge of, you know, of knowing that they probably weren't in their right mind. You have to assume like the best case scenario for your own good, in my opinion. Like even if it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't, you know, like they're not gonna admit it. So I think that answered the question. I mean, I just
No, you answered it how Javandi was supposed to answer it. You know what I'm saying? So just like you, Maydrian. So I kind of wanted to share the correlation in the table that vulnerability and forgiveness have.
Mhm.
I feel like those two things right there, they sit at the table together. They sit at the table together. One drinking coffee. They sit at the table together, but it comes to a point where you have to use both. And that is the challenge that I want to say, speak for men, that we have, brother to brother. You know what I'm saying? I feel like given many times, whether we meant it or not, and that's the wrong, to the loved one that we're with. You know how dudes for always trying to ask for forgiveness for cheating on somebody, or you know what I'm saying, doing something crazy, you know. But you know, just when you about to lose somebody, you show the vulnerability. But no, we got to change that. That should not always be the moment that vulnerability and forgiveness meet. we have to be able to bring those to the table when, like you mentioned, Joe, from like so many years ago when you was a child. And then you could have did the same thing too, Major, just recently, but you did let it go for some time, but you was able to be vulnerable and hey, I forgive you, or you asked for forgiveness. I don't know how you did that in the text.
Mhm.
But having that humility, in the moment, just focus on only what part you could have been a better person and not necessarily their part on how affected you is the key. That's the key. And it comes with just really like that accountability, vulnerability, and being the forgiver. Because it's kind of weird asking for forgiveness, right? But it's all about being the forgiver. And I think we can forgive in a lot of moments that we might have felt done wrong, because how we might have approached it or whatever energy we might have brought to the table for that situation to happen, it was still part of the recipe that caused us to feel that way. Like I might have said something for that person to hurt my feelings in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what this person's going through. So yeah, man, it's a time and a place, but vulnerability and forgiveness and humility, they kind of all sit at the same table, I feel like, and we got to keep that in the back of our minds.
I think I would add that there's one more person sitting at that table, and I would say that would be trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to be able to, and I think it goes to that point you said about forgiveness and forgiving, right? When you're the forgiver, right? You got to trust. I got to trust that what you're apologizing to me for, the one that you're being vulnerable with me for real. I got to trust that your authenticity of your vulnerability. Then I have to trust what you're saying, or you are apologizing for this action. And I have to trust that you're not going to do this again, or you're going to be cautious of how your actions make me feel. You know what I mean? What you're apologizing for. You know what I mean? And then I got to put all that together. You know what I mean? But on the other side, when you're the forgiver, you're asking for trust. You're asking for that because you're asking, hey, I know I messed up. I know what I did wrong. I know the way I came to you. I'm asking for you to trust me enough to allow me to have that same level of access to you again, even though I did X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So I think I would add that goes there. And then to Joe, what you were saying earlier, man, I would just say that healing is not linear. You know what I mean? I think sometimes back to that microwave generation that we are just as people, you know what I mean? We expect to be able to say, okay, this happened in 2010 or 2015 or 2020. It's 2022. I'm done with it. No, man, sometimes that stuff gonna stick with you. That may be the cross you carry, you know what I mean? To testify and to lead somebody else out of that type of situation and to bring somebody else out. And I was watching a podcast and Tabitha Brown was talking about that, how sometimes, God gives us assignments and he gives us things that we have to do and things we got to work through. And sometimes, it may be hard to get through or work through some of those things. And your healing may look like an ever ongoing process, right? Because you're always healing from it and always growing from it, but it ain't linear, man. Healing may be 1 year or 1 month of not thinking about it or having a good time and feeling great about it. And it may be a season where you in 6 months and it's all you can think about. So I think that that's good, man. But yeah, I would say trust, vulnerability, and forgiveness. And what was that last one you put on there? I forgot the fourth one.
Humility. I think you said it.
Okay, humility. Yeah. I think all of them got to sit at the table together, man.
They sit at the table. Yeah. That's beautiful.
We're approaching the end of the show. It's been a great conversation, man.
Absolutely.
I wanted to end us off. I had 5 essentials to give to people for a healthy relationship. The first one being open communication. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that throughout the whole episode today. You got to communicate in order to be in the know, like just as far as like where the relationship is. The second one, I think we also talked about this. I want to say Maydrian, the ability to listen to each other and feel heard.
That was Armoni.
That was Armoni?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That second essential for healthy relationships is the ability to listen to each other and feel heard. It's not one-sided, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking to brick walls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is a every relationship is a two-player game, you know what I'm saying?
Collaborative. Yes.
Yeah. Third one, the ability to work through disagreements. I think I mentioned this one a little earlier. I think a lot of times with our generation, us being young and like Maydrian said, with the whole microwavable thing, we think we jump in to relationships and it's you know, just all everything is green, you know, and what makes us think that? Social media. Like social media and various other, you know what I'm saying, things, but we have to learn how to exercise our grace, patience, and forgiveness, and be mature enough to sit down and say, you know what I'm saying, like, I didn't agree with you. I think we should, you know what I'm saying, work this out so that we can move on. People don't like doing that, but I think that is essential for relationships that have the intent, or for people in relationships that intend on, you know what I'm saying, having long lasting ones. The fourth one is mutual intimacy. I don't like, as far as mutual intimacy, I want to say I may have touched on that a little bit earlier, when I kind of talked about what I thought an intimate relationship was versus, you know what I'm saying, what I think it is now. I feel like every relationship should be intimate. Like there should be some sort of closeness, you know what I'm saying, in every relationship that you have. So if I don't know, like I don't really know how to explain that one, but mutual intimacy is I guess you could say mutual intimacy is just, I mean, love. You know what I'm saying? I got love for you. You got love for me. You know what I'm saying? I know you got my back, you got mine. Trust, closeness. I said closeness. And that fifth one is open communication, the ability to listen to each other and feel heard, the ability to work through disagreements, mutual intimacy, and trust are 5 essentials that I have for healthy relationships. Anybody have like anything else they want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, all that's great, bro.
I think you hit it on the head. I ain't got nothing.
For sure.
Love is love, man. It don't discriminate. It don't hate. It don't say, hey, no, you can't have this. You can't have this much love. Love is love.
Right.
That's Corinthians right there.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's my favorite verse.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I want to really just say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate your time, man. It was a great conversation. You dropped some major gems today, so appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all, man. Hopefully this won't be the last, man. I love what you guys are doing. 2 brothers coming together and really being vulnerable and giving the world access to some of the common things that we all go through that a lot of us aren't able to talk about because they're not able to be as vulnerable and free as you guys are. So I appreciate you guys and y'all in this platform, and it's only up from here, y'all.
Right. Appreciate that.
Sure.
But yeah, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before y'all head out, make sure y'all like, rate, comment, leave feedback. You can get to me and Maydrian on Instagram. May, you can drop yours. You can say it. I mean, you can find the Instagram in the description. I'm tripping. Yeah, you can find our personal Instagrams in the description. As far as like our podcast information, it is at the Essential Roundtable or just the Essential Roundtable on all platforms. And yeah, we will see y'all on the next one. Appreciate it.
The flip, man. All right.
Joe.